Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I decided today that I would bring in my Keene, and it's rather large. It actually is 2 feet 10 inches long. We measured it this morning, and it's a very, very unusual instrument, so this is a good day to bring it in. The weather's cleared and I have the time to spend with it. So this is the Keene. It's made in Thailand. It's a very unusual instrument. It has 2 sets. First of all, I want to mention that it's extremely old. I think they may still be making them for playing in Thailand, but rarely do you ever see them. I'm the only one that I know that's got one, and they go right back into antiquity, so even though they're still used today, they come from way back. Actually, they go to 1100 years before Jesus was born, and it has 2 rows of pipes, exactly the same on both sides. The whole instrument is held together by either strips of bamboo, and these pipes are all bamboo. It's held together by bamboo being tied around it, and also for pitch. Now this is the mouthpiece, and I would turn it, let me turn it to the side like that. This is the mouthpiece. I blow in right here. You have 16 pipes. Every pipe has got a copper reed in it. So all of the pipes play individually, although they actually work together in the sense that they blend together. It's the same type of sound, but every one has its own reed. When it's together, when you hold it together, you blow in it, and there are a set of tone holes, and I don't know, maybe well, I can see them from here, so I guess you can catch them. These little a row of looks like little black spots. They're actually tone holes, and they have the same on the other side, all those little holes, and they also have some on this side. There's a couple of them right here. And in other spots, you have these little tone holes. Very, very large, very, very unusual. These instruments are considered to be the precursor of the harmonica, and the accordion. Reason why: it gives a kind of sound in chords. Now, I have some notes here. I don't want to miss out on anything, telling you anything about it, but it is, as I said, the precursor of the harmonica and the accordions. It's the oldest of the free reed family. The free reed family is a group of woodwind instruments that has the reeds in them. And the pipes are all made of bamboo, and they're tied together with the pieces of strips of bamboo holding it together at both ends, and also this pitch. Now, when I first got this instrument, you could smell the pitch very strongly, and now you can see it. It doesn't smell. It's lost its smell, thank heavens. But I used to be breathing pitch smell every time I tried to play it. You can buy books to tell you how to play it right, and I'm thinking about doing that. But it's not the kind of instrument that you would take in an orchestra and play some scales and some solos. It plays in chords, and it has kind of a sound of an accordion. It's kind of a sound of a harmonica, and I will blow into it so you will be able to hear what it sounds like. It plays chords, and according to the books I have on it, it also plays melodies. I don't know exactly how it does that. This is very, very unusual. I am going to blow into it, but I want you to see these at the top part there. You can see all of these pipes. The pipes on each side are the same. They're the same size. They play different tones, but they're on the same sides. So you can pick it up, and you really have 2 rows of these pipes, which are all bamboo. And I'm going to blow into it, and what you're going to hear is what's going to sound a little bit like a train whistle. And I'm going to use some of the tone holes, not all of them. I don't see how people can reach to play all of them, but this is the way it goes. Isn't that an unusual sound? Let me put it, I normally would play it on this side. I'm afraid of hitting the table. Let me change some of the holes that I'm covering. I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference as to what it sounds like, but we'll try it again. It takes quite a bit of air, too. I really want to fool around with it. Once in a while, I can get a single note. I really want to fool around with it and see if I can get single notes and play a kind of scale on it and bring it in sometime. But it's difficult to play, and it takes a lot of air. So this is the way you would hold it. I always hold it to the left, blow into the mouthpiece. So you got another couple of tones there. It's fun to fool around with, and what I used to do with it I've had it for a number of years, I use it when I go in to do demonstrations for classes. If I'm asked to show instruments and do a music seminar, I always bring this in first because no one's ever seen one. No one knows what they are. And then I blow on it and makes kind of like a train whistle from a distance, and then I go on and explain what it is. Very, very interesting instrument, very old, 1100 years before Jesus, and they say it's precursor of the harmonica and accordion. Well, the harmonica and the accordions date back to about the 1830s. This is way before that. But it has that same kind of sound, so that's where they get that from. And here it is. I'll hold it up. You can get the whole thing in the picture. 2 feet, 10 inches long. And it is an instant conversation piece when I carry it around. And I carry it around for that. When I was teaching, not music, but I also taught in junior highs, I would find things that I thought kids would like and what kids would be interested in. I had a cow's eyeball once that I carried around with me, all kinds of unusual things. And I carry it down the hall in the morning, just before school began, just before they had to get to their study halls and their homeroom classes. And all of a sudden, I'd have a crowd around me. I'd have tons of kids around me. They wanted to see it. They wanted to talk about it. And when I did that, I knew that I could get them in for counseling because they already knew who I was. And I was the lady who carried all the strange stuff. Well, I'm going to put this one down. When we play music, I'm going to go to something else now. When we play music, we are actually reading music. And sometimes we use the terms, can you read this? Can you read this music? We don't think too much about it when we're playing it, but every note, every marking, every breath mark, every rest, every accidental, sharps and flats, that's all a language. That's all a musical language. So when you're playing music, you're really reading it, and then you're playing it, of course, at the same time. So I brought in a couple of things to show you. I've talked about fingering charts and how they work, but I keep mine pretty simple. They don't have to be difficult, but sometimes they are. And you're not going to be able to hone in on any one particular note. But take a look at this. This is a fingering chart. You can see, I can't point out anything, I need both hands to hold it up, but you can see the lines of the notes. Yeah, that's a good shot. And I'll just kind of scan around. It is for piccolo and it is for flute. One side is piccolo, one side is flute and piccolo. And that's the whole thing. Very complicated. Now, you think that's bad. It continues on the other side. On the other side, you have another fingering chart. And here the instrument is pictured, but I don't read it. There are so many simpler ways to do this. I don't sit down and read it. But there's one thing I do want to show you. I'm going to kind of close it up so maybe you can see part of this. If you can see, well, we'll do this side. If you can come in close enough to see the notes, you can see how difficult they are. And those are all trills. How do you play a trill? And so you have your note and you have the trill, and TR is the sign for trill. So you have a note and you have a TR on top of it. That's a trill sign. So what is the trill sign? I'll take my recorder and just demonstrate it. A trill is when you go from a lower note to a higher note as fast as you can. That's a trill. Some people can do it faster than others, but you take one note, whatever it's supposed to be, it'll be written, whatever it's supposed to be, and you just go a higher. Depending if it's a sharp or a flat, then you just go into that note, whatever it is. There's one whole section of that fingering chart that's nothing but trills. How do you play the trill when you have your G sharp key open? How do you play the trill when you have your G sharp key closed? It can get to be that picayune. It can get to be that difficult. So I wanted to show you that. And it would be a case of reading the music. Now, if I take this is something I can't read. It's drum music, and I don't know how to play drum, but I'm going to show it to you. I said to somebody, a friend of mine who is a drummer, how do you read your music? He says, oh, we have books that teach us how to read music. So I said, show me some drum music. And here is drum music, part of it. I don't have any red lights, so I don't know. Okay, over here. And if you can hone in on that, it's one note. It appears to be one note repeated. It appears to be, if it was the treble clef, it would be a C, but it's written in the bass clef, and so therefore it's an E. Let me straighten this out. And it's just one note. Just one note, repeated dozens of times, but in different time signatures, 8th notes, 16th notes, whatever it is. And that's the note that is used to give a drum beat. And they just read that, and then they play the drums to that, so it never changes, the note never changes. But most drums, you don't get music out of it. You get percussive sounds, but you don't get music out of it. But the kettle drums can be played in tones. You can actually tune them and play tones to them. So kettle drums, and when you see kettle drums in an orchestra, usually you have several of them, and they're all playing a different tone, and so they can play them using different tones. Bongo drums too, I think. But it's just very interesting that music is read. So what I've done, and we have time left, I've done a song which I wrote, and I want to play it on the different instruments. Now, I've had some of these instruments in. I didn't bring them all back. The little song flute. We've got a sopranino. I've got flutophones. I've got various ones that I brought in. And this is just a song that I wrote. And I wrote it specifically so I would only use like maybe 4 or 5 notes. And then you can play it on all these different instruments using similar fingerings. So let me go over this here with you for just a second so you'll have a chance to see it. This is in the key of G. And it's in the key of 3/4. In other words, it's waltz tempo, 3/4. I love waltz tempo, so I tend to write in it. This is a G. This is an F sharp. That puts us in the key of G. And this is your treble clef. And if you were to count it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I want to point here. Some music, not all, but even professional music will sometimes have a little staff, and they will write in the lowest note that you're going to be playing and the highest note that you're going to be playing. And it's not just in beginner music that they do it. A lot of times they do it in very difficult professional music as well. So here, the lowest that we're going to go is the D, and the highest we're going to go is the B. So I'm playing this song with only 6 notes. And a lot of times when I teach, I will do that so that people will understand, especially the students that I have. So let me play this. There's no background tape for it, but I will record it at some point. But this is a little waltz, and then I'm going to play it again and again and again with other instruments, so you get a chance to see the sounds of the instruments. The fingerings that I'm going to use are about the same. Okay, so we'll go with this. Now, if it sounds a little repetitive, it is, because I'm only using 6 notes, so I got to use these 6 notes over and over again. But let's try it with a flutophone. The flutophone I've had in here before. I truly do like these instruments. They don't do 2 octaves, they only do 1. But they have a very nice tone. They're very well in pitch. They're in pitch with themselves. They're in pitch with any other instrument that you play. They have a good tone. They're easy to play, and you can learn a lot from them. So here's the flutophone. Very nice instrument. Now I'm going to try the little song flute. And I've had this in here before. I did a whole sermon on this little song flute in one of my other shows. It does have a remarkable tone, but this is what it sounds like. Now you're going to notice as I play this that it's in a different key. The song is the same, but it's in a different key. I'm using just about the same fingerings. Some of the fingerings I have to change a little bit because an F sharp is played a little differently on some of these instruments. The other thing would be the C, if I were up that high, or that B sometimes has to be played like with all open, and you wouldn't do that on a regular recorder. So some of the fingerings change, but most of them stay the same. Now this is a little instrument that looks like a recorder. It's made to be like a recorder. You can't take it apart. It's just one whole piece. There's no marking on it as to whether it, what company made it. I have a green one just like it, but it actually plays quite well, except you can't get a double octave on it. So it's limited in that way. Very soft, but a very nice instrument. So I like playing it, and you don't do much in terms of solo work, but it's got a good quality tone in it. I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use my little 1 note. This is a recorder that's not a toy. They say it's not a toy. It looks like it might be, but it's not. It actually plays pretty well, so I'm going to try that. mention something about the music, and then we'll close with this because I don't have much time left. But I slow down right here at that retard. I go through the melody, I hold notes, and then we have a retard right here, and then we have a hold right here, and a little couple of hatch marks, and with that I stop. So actually I'm playing a whole phrase, and then we get to the end of that phrase and we slow down like it's coming to a stop, and it does come to a stop. The last note I hold, then I cut it off, and then I start again. It's the same phrase repeated again. There is a number of scale work here. You'd have to get a little bit more advanced than just beginning to play it, but it's not that hard either. And then you would come to a retard, and we close, and these double lines tell us that the song is over with. So what do you learn from playing something like this? It's a simple song, but when I write songs, I like to make them upbeat and simple but melodic. Well, you learn about the key signature, you learn about the time signature, you learn about the holds. These two are held. I've got a number of holds here. Counting rests, retards, the stopping when you have a little break in here, the hold right here where you hold it longer. And and then you go through the rest of the song and you come to the end of the song. And so you can learn a lot just by playing simple music. So what I'm going to do, my time is about out, I'm going to stop it here, and then next time I'm going to go into all of the penny whistles. What are they? How do they play? What's the difference between a penny whistle and a recorder? How can we use them? We can use them a lot. So I'm going to close it here. Please join me next time.